everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. Today in this video we are going to cover very interesting topic, and our today's topic is building a full stack web app with Angular 18, Python and SQLite. It's a complete tutorial which will help us to create a full stack application with Angular as a front end, Python as a backend and SQLite as a database. So let us see what are all prerequisites to create this application. So as an editor, we are going to use VS Code, and for the front-end technologies, we are going to use Angular 18 plus version, Node it's a v20.11.1 version, NPM version 10.5.0, Material it's a 18.2.5, and for the backend technologies, we are going to use Python as a backend technology. In that, we are going to use Django framework and Django REST framework, and as a database we are going to use SQLite. So this is about all the prerequisites we are going to use to create this full stack application. Next thing, let us see what are all points which we are going to cover. Like first we will see the architecture diagram. Next I will show you a small user interface demo, and next like we are going to create our backend application using Python Django framework. And these are some points, like we will first create our backend application using Python Django. Next we will implement CRUD operations. For that we will create a model, serializer view, and finally we will configure our URL for the application and project specific URL. And finally we will test our application for CRUD operations using Django REST framework user interface. This is about all the backend application and the steps which we are going to implement while creating a Python backend application. Next thing, we will create our front-end application using Angular 18, and we will create our Angular 18 standalone application. Next we will implement our we will create a material table, and for that we are going to use Angular material library. Next, apart from that, we are also going to implement some advanced functionalities, like we are going to implement CRUD APIs or CRUD operations, and alongside with that we are also going to implement search filter, searching, sorting, pagination part using this Angular material table. And we will test our end-to-end functionality through UI browser and verify all those functionality whether it is working as expected or not. So this is about all the points which we are going to cover in this video. So let us see the architecture part. So this is the architecture part wherein we are going to create an order system, and in that on the front end side we are going to create our order underscore web front end application using Angular 18, and it's a standalone application. In that we are going to use like Angular material as a library, and we are going to use HTTP client provider to connect with our backend REST APIs. Okay, so this is about front end technology. In that, like we are going to use the hooks and functions available in Angular material table, and using that we are going to create a table populated with columns and data, and we will implement the CRUD operations. Also we are going to implement searching, sorting, pagination using hooks and functions available in Angular material table. So this is about the front end side which we are going to implement using Angular 18. And next, like on the backend side we are going to create our order service backend application using Python, and in that we are going to use Django framework and Django REST framework. So these are two frameworks which will help us to create which will help us in in web development in Python. So it will help us to create and build the REST APIs on the backend side, and using the Django REST framework we are also going to test our CRUD APIs. So it will provide the user interface through which we will test our REST APIs. So this is about all the backend side, and our backend application, which is order underscore service, will connect with the database or interact with the database, and as a database we are going to use SQLite. So this is about the overall system, order system we are going to create with all these subsystems. So this is our channel Code for Tech Solutions. I will request you all to please visit my channel. I have created number of full stack videos. These are some combination of full stack videos I have created so far, and I am sure you will at least find at least one video, and you will find it useful. So this is a combination like React.js plus Spring Boot. These are some full stack application for that. Angular plus Node.js combination, Angular plus Spring Boot, React.js plus Node.js, and React.js plus Python. And this is like Angular plus Python. I have included the today's video as well. So please do visit to my channel and find the video which you are looking for. I am sure you will find at least one useful video. Basically, this is about all the full stacks. Next, please do not forget to like, subscribe and share. So I will request you all to please like, subscribe and share. Now let me show you the user interface demo, how our application will look like. So this is our application, how it will look like, and here we can see this is the header part, and here we have this controls like mat field controls, mat field, and here this is for product, this is for quantity, and this is for price. And here we have search filter functionality from where we are going to search the orders. Now this is the table, and here this is the header part. We have product, quantity, price, and action buttons edit and delete, and this is the data including the action buttons like edit and delete. Now below this table we can see this is the pagination section. This is about the overall pagination overall design for our application, like UI design. Now let us see, well, we can add one entry, like here we can take one, like we can say Inspiron, we can take one product, let's say it's Inspiron, and quantity we can take 7, and price we can take some price like 65,000. And once we click on add button, we can see the record is added as the last record. Okay, so this is about addition. The record will get added with this add button, and this add button we are also going to use for update purpose as well. Now if you want to search any functionality from here, so let's say, now let me first refresh it so that it will be okay. Now if you want to search for Galaxy, it will show the Galaxy. Now iPhone, like it will show the iPhone, and yoga seems good. Now this filter is applicable. Let us say if you want to search for 3 quantity, quantity means whatever 3 it will show, here is the 3 again, likewise it will show. And let's say if you want to go for price 77,000 or starting with 77, it will show. So this is about filter functionality is working. Similar way we are also going to implement our sorting functionality. Let us say now we have defined a page size as a 4, like per page it is showing the 4 records. Now if we click on this, this is for product sorting. Similar way, this is for quantity, and this is for price sorting. It will get, the data will get sorted in ascending or descending order based on the column. Okay, so this is about sorting functionality. Now next thing, here apart from that, we are also going to implement the pagination part. Now we are on the first page, hence the first and previous button is disabled, which is as expected. Per page we are showing 4 records. Now once we click on next page, it will show us next 4 page on next page. Likewise it will keep on showing, and once we reach the last page, it will show the last page and the next page disabled, which is as expected. Now similar way, once we click on first button, it will take us to the first page, and once we click on last button, it will take us to the last page. Now this is for edit. Now let us add one more entry, and we can go for delete. Now let us add one legion. So this is the legion, and here we can take quantity as a 3, and price we can say 57,000 somewhere, and we can add. Now we can see we have 2 records on the last page. Now if you want to edit anything, like this is the, let us say this is for legion, or we can take any record, like let's say this is for pixel 2. Instead of pixel 2, if you want to make it like pixel go, and instead of 5 quantity we can make it as a 8, and here we can choose 99,000, we can add. Now we can see it has changed successfully with pixel go with all these modified entries. Now our edit, with this our edit is working and updation is working. Similar way, if you want to delete any record, we can simply click on this delete button, and it will ask for the confirmation. Once we click on OK button, the record will get deleted. Seems good. We can see the record is deleted. This is about all the functionality which we are going to implement from scratch. So I will request you all to please watch this from start to end, so that you will not miss any functionality in between or any step in between. Create our backend application using Python Django, and these are some points which we are going to implement in sequence. So previously we have seen the prerequisites for creating the entire full stack application. Right now we are going to see what are all prerequisites to create a backend Python application. For that, first we need to install Python. So if you have not installed, you can refer this video which will help you on how to install Python on Windows operating system. Next we need to install Django framework. We can use this pip command to install the Django framework. With Django framework we can it will help us to create the web development in Python. Next, we need to install Django REST framework, which will help us to create and build the REST APIs on the Python backend side. And with this pip command, we can install this Django REST framework. This is about all the prerequisites we need to be ready with to create our backend Python application. Now, without any further ado, so let us jump into the coding part now. This is our project folder. Now, here we can open the command prompt, and from here we can use this code space dot so that it will open the VS Code instance. Now here, first of all, we can create our virtual environment using command python -m, and here we can use this command virtual environment, and we can give our virtual environment name. With this command, it will create a virtual environment, and this is the folder you can see. Inside that we have include lib and script folder. Now what all libraries we install, that will go inside this lib folder. Okay, so what is the importance of virtual environment and why we need to create a virtual environment? I have created one dedicated video. You can refer that if you want to go more in depth. Now in short, like I can tell you, to install the project specific libraries, we can use the virtual environment, which is a recommended approach. Instead of installing globally, it is always better to install it in virtual environment. Okay. Next, we need to activate it. So we can go to virtual environment. Now inside scripts, we can use activate. Yes, we can see virtual environment prompt is appearing. That means it is activated. Fine. Now let us install the dependencies using command pip install, and we need to install the libraries. First is the Django framework, next is the Django REST framework. So these are two frameworks we are going to install. And for SQLite database, we don't need to install anything because by default it will get added into our Python application. That is the default database our project will get pre-configured with. Now you can check the lib folder. It will all the libraries will reside inside this, or we can use the piplist command once the installation is complete. Now we can use this piplist command, and it will show list all the libraries like Django REST framework. Seems good. Now let us create our Python Django project. So for that we can use the command Django admin, and we can use this start project, and we can give our project name. In our case, it's order underscore service. Now you can see the project folder is created with all the default files and folders, including manage.py. Now let us create one application inside this. So first of all, we can go to order service. Next we can use this command python manage.py, and we can use start app, and here we can give our application name. I will keep API. Now here it will create our application with name API. You can see this is the API application. Now this is the application where it will what all REST APIs we are going to create, that all will reside inside this application. Okay. Now we have successfully created our Python project with name order underscore service, and inside that we have created one application with name API. Now next thing, like we need to add configure some settings. Like we can go to our python setting.python file. Here we have installed apps. Now here we can make an entry of the REST framework. This is the library we have just added. Next thing, like we need to make an entry of our application, which is the API, and we can save it. Seems good. Now here what happens, like you can see this is the database entry. Like it has already it comes with SQLite database, which is a default database, and our application will get pre-configured with this database. That's why we don't need to write any code for this SQLite. Okay, fine. Now next thing what we can do, we can create one model part. Now inside this API, let us create our model, and here we are going to use like it's Django.db, and we can import our models. Next thing, like we can use class, and we can create the order class. Inside that we can use the models dot model. This is the class we are just creating. Now next thing, like we are going to mention what all properties we are going to use, like it's models dot char field we can mention, and we can mention max length, let us keep 100, or you can take as per your need. Next we want to use quantity. For that again we can use integer field. Next we have price. For that again we can use the same, like it's an integer field. Now next we can define one string interpretation method for this, and we can return like self dot product. Okay, seems good. Now we are done with our model creation. So we have imported this model and we have created this model with these attributes or properties. Seems good. Now we can save it. Next thing, we can create one serializer inside our application. Like we can create one file like serializers.python, and for that we can import from our REST framework, it's a serializers, and we can import our from our model, and our model name is order. Next we can create one class with like it's order serializer. Inside that we can use serializers dot model serializer we can use. Now inside that we can use class meta, and below that we can use what is the model, and our model is order, and what all fields we want to use or will get participated into serialization. So for now we are making all fields, and we can save. So we are done with our serializer. We have created order serializer. Now next thing, like we can create our view. So for that, here we can import from our REST framework, and we can import like view set. Next we can import from serializers, and we can import our order serializer. Next we can import from models, and our model is order. Okay, now we can create one class view set, like it's order view set, and we can use view set dot, we are going to use model view set. Okay, and here we can mention the query set. For that we can use order object dot, we can call objects, and we can call the all method on this, and we can mention serializer class, which is order serializer. That's it. Now we are done with our view part. We don't need to write more code for creating a view. So we have number of ways to create a view using the Django REST framework, like we have custom like mixin or API view, and function based or class based, but we are using model view set. It's a because it's a most recommended, and it's a popular one when we are using the Django REST framework. Now the best thing is that with this model view set, like it will create the automatic actions for our retrieving, creating, deleting, and updating actions. So we don't need to write much code it here. Now next thing, like we need to create and configure the URL. So first we can create our application specific URLs. For that we can use our django.urls, and we can import path and include. Now next thing, like we are going to use views and we are going to import our order view set. Okay, and we are going to and one more thing, like we need to import from REST framework, and from that we need to import routers, and we are going to use default router. Okay, seems good. Now we need to create a router. For that we are going to use default router, and next we need to register our view set with the router. For that we can use, like here we can mention the endpoint which is orders, and after that we can register our view set which is order view set. That's it. Next thing, like we can add URL patterns. It's an array. Inside that we can mention it's a path, and for that we can use API slash, and here we can include our which is router.urls. That's it, and we are done with application URLs, API URLs. Now next thing, similar way we need to configure inside our application URL inside our project URL. For that we need to add one more entry here. Can remove this, and here we can mention it's a blank path, and here we need to add our include our API URL dot URLs, and we need to add import for this include, and we can save it. Seems good. We are done with all our URL configuration part. Now next thing what we can do, like we need to do a migration part. Like we can use python manage.py, and we can use make migrations. This is the command. This command will prepare files for our actual migration to create a database schemas on the SQLite side. Okay, so there is a path instances. Okay, so let us check it here. So this is the API that we have slash. Okay, so here it should be, sorry, there is so here we have bracket for path. Okay, so actually there should not be this bracket, and rather we should use API, and for this is the include. Seems good. Now we can save it. Okay, fine. Now let us use the migration command again. Yes, we can see based on our model it has created the file, and this is the db.sqlite file it has created. Now next thing, we can run our application using command python manage.py, and we can use the run server command. Now we can see it is it has started the development server. Now we can click on this URL so that it will show the URL. Now here what we can do, we can use our URL path API and its orders. Seems good. Now let us check what is the path we have is orders, and this is the API. No such table API order. Now we can save it here. Let us make a migration again, so that can use make migration command. Now let us, so to complete the migration we need to use one more migrate command. After that only the migration will get completed, because we just with now we can see it has created the tables and all. With just the single command, it will not create, it will just create a db.sqlite file, but as of now it has not created any table on the SQLite database side. Okay, once we execute this command, it will create the actual schema on the database side. Okay, seems good. Now fine, now let us run our application using command python manage.py run server. Now it will show, this seems good. Now here once we click on this one, here we can use our API, and here is our orders. Now it should run. Seems good, it is showing. Now this is the Django REST framework user interface. Right now it is showing the empty list because we do not have any record as of now. Let us add one record, like let's say Galaxy Mobile. Quantity we can say 2, and price we can add 50,000 somewhere, and we can add post button. Now we can see, one record is added successfully with ID 1. Now similar way we can add one more entry, iPhone mobile, and here we can say quantity 3, and here we can add 1,50,000 as in price. Seems good, we have added second record successfully. Let us add one more entry so that we can check for the rest of the things. Here for quantity we can take 2, and here we can make it as an 1 lakh as a price. Now we have 3 records in place. Now we can check, this is the 3 records as just we have created. Now let us check by calling a particular record. If you pass the ID, it will fetch the particular record. Seems good. For 3 ID 3, it is fetching third record, which is as expected. Next thing, like you can see this record is get populated within these text boxes. Now if you want to modify this, like we can use we can modify it. Now here we can use pixel 2, and here quantity we can make it 3. This is the third record, and here we can use 77,000, and we can modify. Now we can see third record, it has successfully modified with these data. That means our modification is working, updation is working fine. Similar way, if you now let us cross check the list and check third record, seems good. Now similar way, if you want to delete any record, first we need to access that record. After that you will find this delete option. Once we click on delete button, once we click on delete confirmation box, it will delete the record. Now we can check the list. Now we have 2 records because the third record we have just deleted. If you want to cross check this on the database side, we have this online platform SQLiteonline.com, wherein you can use this. Now here we need to copy the path. So this is our db.sqlite file. We need to copy this path, and here this is the user interface for SQLite online platform. Now here we can click on this plus button, and we can use open SQLite DB, and we can pass the folder path where exactly our file is there. This is the db.sqlite, and we can open it. Seems good, it is showing all the data, all the tables as such. Now if you want to uh, fire the select query, it will show all the records which we have just created. Seems good. With this we are done with our backend Python application creation. Now next thing, like our Angular application will run on different port, and our different host and port, and as well as our backend application is running on some different host and port. Just to make a communication on the backend side, we need to add some course origin installation, so that that issue may not occur. For that, what we can do, like we can use we can install one Django course header, which the library is already there. We can install it. So this library will help us, like it will once we install this library and add some inside the setting, course origin issue will be resolved. like our Angular application will successfully interact with the our backend application with that. Now here we need to do few more things, like here we need to add course headers entry inside installed apps. Next thing, inside middleware we need to add one more entry, like here we can say course headers dot, we can say middleware dot, we can say course middleware. This is the entry we need to add for middleware. And to enable the course origin, we need to add like course allowed origins. Similar way we used to add course origin for Spring Boot application, what all host we are going to allow. Similar way here we can add, like here we can say HTTP and localhost Angular application, which is 4200 port on which it is running. Now we have successfully added the course headers library, and after that we have added these entries, like in installed app we have added that in middleware, and next finally we have added one entry for course allowed origins. Okay, seems good. We are done with. Let us create our front-end application using Angular 18, and these are some points which we are going to implement in sequence. Now in one terminal our Python application is running, so let us create one more terminal, and here we can use command ng new, and here we can give our project name, which is order underscore web. As we are using Angular 18, so it will create a standalone Angular project using version Angular 18. Now here we can select CSS, server side rendering, we can say no, and it has started installing the packages. Once it is complete, it will create our project folder. Let me show you what all versions we are using. So this is the Angular CLI version using 18.2.5, and the node version we are going to use 20.11.1. Let us see what is the npm version. And this is 10.5.0 as an npm version. So these are all latest version we are going to use to create this Angular app. Now it has successfully created our order web project, and with all the default files and flow folders, and this is the package.json file. Now let us run our application using command N. Let us first go to our project folder, which is order web, and here we can run our application using command ng-o. It will launch our application into the browser. Can type y. Now we can copy this URL and we can open into the browser. Now our Angular application is running fine. Now one thing you have noticed that our Angular application is running on port host localhost, and it support 4200, whereas our backend application, backend Python application, is running on this host, and this is the 8000 as the port. So these are two different applications running on different hosts and ports. Now in order to make a communication in between these two, we need to create a proxy file. So we can create one proxy.config file, proxy.config.json file, and here we can use can use Now this is the target URL, and after that we can add like secure as a false. Okay, so we have configured a proxy, like our front end application is going to interact with this backend application. Okay, now we need to make an entry into angular.json file for our proxy config file. Okay, so here we can add options, and we can say proxy config, and here we can give our file name, which is proxy.config.json file. That's it, and we can save it. Now we are done with our proxy configuration, so that our front end application will interact with the backend application. Next thing what we can do, like we can create the environments, like different to create a different environments, like development, staging, and production. So we need to if we create the environment, then our application will be deployable on different environments. So for that reason we are going to create different environments. So we can use ng generate environments. So this command will generate the environments. Now here you can see it has created environments folder. Inside that we have development, and this is the environment folder. Now this environment is by default it is picking, and this is for production, and this is for production, and we can say it's a true. After that we can use API URL, and for that we can use like HTTP, and we can say myapp.prod.com. Let us assume this is the production URL. So whatever your real production URL, you can mention it here. So for now I will keep as is. Now this is for production. Similar way we need to add for development environment, and for development environment we can make production as a false, and here we can add our actual dev host. Whatever dev host is of yours, you need to add it here. Now instead of adding the dev host, let me add the local host for now, and we are pointing our local host 40008 here as an development environment, and we can save it. Now let us go to our angular.json file, and here we can see we have configurations folder, and inside that, like we have production configuration, like from this to this. Similar way we have development configuration, like it starts it here, and it. Now if you want to add one more environment like staging and kind, so we can copy this part, and below this we can add, and we can rename with staging. Okay, and we need to add the staging related configurations. So we don't need to modify much, only we need to copy and do that. After that we need to commit here, and you can see we have already added the proxy configuration. Next we need to come to configuration part, and here we have one entry for production, one entry for development. Similar way we can add for the other environments. Now here it's a default configuration for the development, we can see, and if you check for our configuration for production and development, this is the entry, and here default configuration is the development. We can make it here it was earlier production. Okay, so we are going to change it to development, because it should use our development environment URL, which is http localhost 4200. We can save it. Now we are done with our creating the environment for different environments. Now let us create our component. Now first what we can do, we can create our module with name order. Now we can see order module is generated successfully. Similar way, we can create one service inside order module, and we can say the name of the service is order itself. Now we can see order service is created. Now let us generate the component inside order service, and our component name is a home, which is a standalone. Now on the home component, we are going to show everything, like we are going to show controls for add and edit orders, and we are going to generate a table and populate it with columns and data. And alongside with that, we are going to perform CRUD operations, including searching, sorting, pagination part. So everything we are going to show on the home component. Now let us create one more component, which is an interface inside this order module, and our interface name is order itself. Now we are done with all the component creations. What we have done first, like we have created this order module, next we have created service, order service, next we have created home component, and finally we have created one interface. Okay, each component has its own CSS file, HTML text file, and TS file. Now let us add some properties for this order. First we have ID, like you can say it's a number type. We have like product, we can say it's a string. Next we have quantity, which is again like a number, and next we have price, which is again a number. That's it. So we are done with our order interface entry. Now next thing what we can do, like we can add our routing logic. So this is the routing part, and here we can add our routing logic. So here we can use path, and here we can use component. What component we are going to generate? It's a home component. So this is for one path. Similar way we can configure for other path, and here we can use redirect to, and here we can use order slash home, and here we can use path match as a full. Similar way we can configure it for empty path, so that anyway if we our URL starts with this path, then it will generate the home component, or it has order, it will redirect to home, or it has empty path, then again it will redirect to the home page. So we have configured it successfully. Now next thing what we can do, like we can remove everything from app.component.html, and here we can add router outlet, and we can save it. Now we can see it is showing the output, which is as expected. Home component it is showing, and it has this content. Okay, Now let us remove this. Now let us, before we add the coding for this home component, let us do one thing. First we need to add the Angular model material. So we can use this library Angular material using this command. So here, till the time it installs, we can create one div, and we can say it's a class name, it's as a container. So here the package will be installed. Would you like to proceed? Yes. So we can add some style, like let's say width we can mention 777 pixel, and height we can mention somewhere 63 pixel, and we can save it. Here we can, now here while installing the Angular material, we can go with the default theme, and for global typography we can say yes, and we can choose include and enable animations, and after that it will complete the installation. Now here you can see we can add some margin, like margin top, let's say 20 pixel, and after that we can add margin left, which is 30 pixels somewhere, and we can save it. Now here we can add some header, h3 header, and here we can give some header name, like it's a full stack application with Angular 18 Python, and we have SQLite database, and we can save it. We can add some style, and we can add some color, and we can add text align as in center. Seems good. So this is about the header we have just created. Now next thing what we can do, now here we can add one line break. After that we are going to create some controls for input box. So now here we can see the Angular material is successfully installed. Now if we want to cross check, we can go to package.json, and here we can check this is installed successfully. Seems good. Now next thing what we can do, like we can go back to our this here. Now let us go to our home.component.ts, and here we can import what all things we require. So we require, like we can say mat form field module we require, and that is we are going to take import it from Angular slash material, and we can say form field. So this is for one form field. Similar way we can copy, and we can import our one input like mat input module, and here we can use input. Similar way we need to add icon, like it's a mat icon module, and here we can say it's icon, and we need to add it or add it all into our import list. Like this is for home field, and we can save it. Now let us create one mat form field, mat form, and here we can add some style, like we can mention some width, let's say 175 pixel, and here we can add some height, let's say 63 pixel, and we can save it. Okay, so for container we have mentioned height that is not needed because the height it should take to height. Now this is for 63 pixel. Now we can save it, and after that for this mat field we are going to add one input text, and this we can say it is for product, and same we can add for ID, and we can add some placeholder, and here we can say enter product, and for this input we can add mat input. That's it. Now next thing below this, like we can save it, and below this we can add one mat icon, and here we can add font icon, and here we can say it is product from store, and here we want to show this icon after the input text box as a mat suffix. Seems good. Now it is showing icon next to this placeholder, enter product. Seems good. Now this is for one field. Now let us copy it, and let us add next to two more fields. Now here this is for first one is a product, next one is for, let's say, quantity. You can copy it, and here for quantity, if it has any icon, it will show. Similar way we can add for price, and here for price we can use monetization on to show the dollar icon. Now we can say it is showing as expected. Now here we can add some margin left for style. This is margin left, and we can say 15 pixel. Similar way we can edit it here. Seems good. Now let us run our application, rerun our application so that it will show it in a proper manner. Next thing, here we can add one button, and here we can use mat flagged button. To create a button in Angular we have various options. Okay, so let us remove it because it is showing the error, compilation error. Proxy.config, there is some error in proxy.config.json. So this is the target URL, and secure, so this is the API. Parse errors. Now seems good. Now it is showing. Okay, now it is showing in a proper way, like this is for product and with icon, and this is for quantity, and this is for price with icon dollar. Seems good. Now let us go to our home.html. Here we can add one button, and here to create the button in Angular material we have various options, like we can use matte flat button, and here we can name it like add. Now we can copy it, and here we can use one more button. This is for cancel, and we can save it. Now here we need to import for the button as well. Now we can copy one, and here we can import. This is for button module. Now we can see it is showing the button as expected. Now let us add some style, like style we can say first we can add margin left with, let's say, 25 pixel. Next we can add some background color, and we can save it. Seems good. Now for cancel also we can copy this, and here we can add background color as in red for cancel. It seems good now. Now it is looking good. Now next thing what we can do, like we can add one search filter. For that we can copy this matte form field, add it here. Now we can remove the margin left which is not needed. Next, like here we can say it is for search order, and here we can say for placeholder search order. and here we can use search icon and we can save it. Now here seems good. Now here fine. So we have search filter it here. Now next thing what we can do, like we can create one table below this. Now to create a table below this, what we can do, like let us check Angular material on Google, and here we can click on this table link, and you can see the table it here, and you can choose the format, and accordingly here you can view code, and this is the table code. Okay, now we can copy this part and we can add below this. We can add one line break. To this we can add this table part. Okay, similar way we can add some TS entries, like we have these two data source columns to show the column and headers. We need to add these two entries at here, and for element data we can say new mat it's a mat table data source. It should be data source, and here we need to define one order which is of type order, so we can use it. So let us do that, like we need to import for this one. Okay, so first we can add import for mat table data source, as well as mat table module we can add, and it's from Angular material table. Seems good. We can add this into import list it here, and we can save it. Now for this order we need to create one order object, and let us do that. No, let us import it. Seems good. Now let us check how it looks. Now it is showing the headers, which is as expected. Now let us change it to our what headers we require. Accordingly we need to change it. So what we can do, we can first go to TS file, and here we can say we require ID, next is a product, next is a quantity, and here we can say it's a price. And what displayed column string array we are, what names we are using it here, same name we need to use inside our HTML, inside this, where we are entering the table for this mat column depth. Like this is the ID, this is for product, this is for quantity, and here is the price. That's it. Now next thing what we can do, like here instead of here we can use the same, like this is the ID, and copy the product, and this is quantity, and this is for price. Now we are done with. Now instead of element we can use our order object. So let us do that, order, and we can copy it. And that's it. Now we can save it. Now let us create the order to object. Like here we can say we can create one order object, and here it is of type of order, and here we can mention id is equal to 0. Next, like we have product, which is a blank. Next we have quantity, which is again, let's say, blank. Next we have price, which is again blank. Now for quantity and price, these are two, it should be numbers, and we can save it. So this is for particular order. Similar way, what we can do, like we can create orders which will hold order array, order list, and we can initialize it with empty array. So these orders will hold the data which is getting returned from the get API, and this is the particular order. Okay, and inside it here, what we can do, this is the particular order fields we are going to use, and this is the orders. Okay, for row we are using the orders. Fine. Now it is showing the header parts successfully. Now let us see how we can render the data part. Now we have not written any get API, so let us do that. First thing what we need to do, like first of all, we need to create one get API inside this service. So here we can write our, let's say, private. We can write one service variable, let's say HTTP client, which is of HTTP client. Now before we add anything at here, so let us understand, as we are going to use HTTP client, but before we use that, first we need to add into the configuration part it here. Now if you look at the project structure, like our application, this is the main entry point of our application, which is a main.ts file, from where our application will get bootstrapped. Okay, now it will use this app config, and inside this we need to add all the providers which we are going to use. So for our HTTP client, we need to add one provider, like provide HTTP client. This is the provider, so that our HTTP client will work inside our service. Okay, now next thing what we can do, we can use one URL, base URL, and for that, which is of type string, and we can use API slash our orders as an endpoint. Now next thing what we can do, we can write one get orders method, and here we can use observable, which is of order array type, which will return, and here we can return like this dot HTTP client dot, we can call get method, and inside get method we can use the backtick. And here what we are going to use, like we need to make a combination of URL. For that, first we need to import the environment and from our dev environment, where, because wherein we have our localhost 4200 URL we have configured. Why we are choosing dev environment, because this URL we have configured for this app URL. Now this is the environment and we can copy it, and here we can use it inside $, like environment.api URL. Next to that we can use our base URL, like this dot base URL. So that's it, we can complete it. Now it should return the our list of orders for us. For this get method, we need to write what it is the return type, like this. We can copy and add it here. Seems good. Now our get orders is ready. Now let us go. Still it is not showing because we need to like this is our home component. Now this component we need to implement with some uh, interface. And what is that interface? Which is like after view init. So this is the interface we need to implement with, and here we can use some ng init view, and here inside this, like we can call our, so before this, inside this to provide the implementation, before this we need to write one constructor, and inside this constructor we can use private, and our product service is there, order service, not a product service, which is of type order service. That's it. Now here we can give a call to our order service, and we can call the method on that, like get orders, and we can subscribe to that, and whatever data we will get as a callback. So for that, like we can use this dot orders. This is the constant which will hold the orders data, so we can use this. Now with this only the data will not get generated, because if you look at the home.component.html, we are actually using the data source, okay, for the table generation. So we need to use the data source, this dot data source. Now here we have this data source. Here we can copy this line, and here we need to mention here what data we want to render, like it's a data which we have returned. This is the callback data with which it should populate the data source, mat data source. Okay, we can save it. Now let us check, it should show the data. Seems good, it is showing the data. Now quantity is not getting shown. Let us check it here. This is the quantity and quantity. Okay, now let us check it. Okay, so there is a spelling mistake, should be quantity n. Now it seems good. Now it should show. It should be in sync with what we have shown it here. Now here it should be similar way. Here it should be quantity, same it here. Now it is showing the data with quantity. Seems good. Now it is showing the data. Okay. Now we are done with our get API successfully. Now let us see, like here once we enter anything at here, that data should get captured. Like once we enter for product, and for quantity if we add some number, and price if we add something, this data we need to capture in some constant. So for that what we can do, like here we can import and we can use forms module. Next thing we can import, and we can use common module. Now these two we need to add to our import list, it here, and after that there is common module, and we can save it. Now let us go to our home.html. Now here this is for product. Now what we can do here, we can use this, and here we can say ng module, and after that we can use, this is the order dot product. Okay, so there is a spelling mistake, it should be ng model. So this is for product. Similar way we can add for two more attributes. This is for quantity. And we can add for price. And that's it. And we can save it. Now whatever data we enter, that will get captured into our order object. Okay. Now it is showing the 0 at here. Now let us go to it over here, app.ts file. We can define, like we can use quantity as an any to undefined, and for this quantity we can use this dot quantity. Seems good. Similar way here we can use for price. Basically it should show the placeholder enter price instead of 0. For that reason we are adding this. So this is the price, and here we can add for price like this dot price, and we can save it. Seems good, it is showing. Now whatever text and quantity and like price we enter, and once we click on add button, it should add the entry. So for that reason we can go to add.html, home.html, and here this is our add button. Now here we can add on click functionality, and here we can say add edit order, and this is the function, and we are going to pass the product order object. Now let us define one constant for this into our ts file. Now we will take this order input, and after that like this add and edit order we are going to use for creating the order as well as updating or editing the order. For that reason, we can say if there is a order ID is not equal to 0, that means we have the order ID. In that case, we need to go for update button, or else uh, if the order ID is not there, means we need to create a new order. Okay, so this is for update order, this is for new order. Okay, now let us go for new order first. Like we can use this dot order service. First we need to create one API inside this order service. So let us do that. Here we can copy this code and here we can add, we can say it should be create order, and for this we can add data which need to be created, and this is of type order, and we can remove this part. And here we can call the post method, and which will be returning the order type. And here these are two like API URL, and this is the base URL. After that we are going to pass the actual data which need to be added into the like database. With this, like new order will get created, but before that we need to give a call to our order service inside this home component. This is the order service, and on that we can call the create order, and for this create order we need to pass the this order, and here we can call subscribe. We can say next, and here this is the data which we will get return, and for this data we can log the data, and we can say like new product created successfully. And after this what we can do, like we do not need to refresh the page. For that we can use window.location.reload, so that to see the added data newly created order we do not need to refresh the page. So this is about order creation code. Now let us check how it goes. Now let us add one order it here, like we can take kind of ThinkPad as a product. Quantity, like we can say 3, and price we can add 55,000, and let us click on add button. Okay, so it is not getting added, so let us check. So this is the console. Now here ThinkPad, okay, so basically we have added this next, sorry, we have added this next. After that we need to complete it with error as well. So this is the error kind of scenario. And in case of error we are going to log the error. Now let us check the service method whether we are using the post method. Seems good. And here we are passing the data. Fine. Now let us save this and check how it works. Let us check if our backend application is running. So this is the create order. Yeah, this is the order post. And here let us check from here how we are passing the on click button. So this is the on click add and edit order. We are passing the order. So let us rerun our application and check. No, not this one. Okay, we can run our backend application. Backend application no need to run. Only front-end application we need to run. So there is something. First of all, what we can do, we can save everything. There is something which is not saved, due to which it may happen. Let us save, and here again we can save. And this is our add functionality. For that we have this click, Control X. We can add it here. And now next let us check by running the application, or our application is okay. So here we can rerun the application and check. Now we can see the entry is added successfully. There was something which was not saved, due to which it was not showing as expected. Now it is getting added as expected. Seems good. Now if we refresh, it will show it here as well. Fine. So our addition is working fine. Now next thing what we can do, so let us add some table CSS part. So let us copy some, this is some table CSS part. Let me take, this is the small CSS. We can add it at here. Now basically this is for header row, whatever header we have, for that it will apply. And this is for row data, and this is for every even child, it will show some color, and we can save it. Seems good. Now it is showing as expected. Now let us add the edit and delete button so that we can we can implement that functionality. For that we can go to our home.html, and here we can add two more containers, ng container for two column. First thing we need to do, like we need to go to our home.ts file, and here we can see this is the displayed column list. First thing, here we need to add one for edit and other is for delete. Can say. Now let us go to home.component.html and we can copy this part and we can add this is for edit, and here we can say it's edit. And instead of this we can remove it. Now here we need to create one button and we can name it like mat flat button, and this is the edit button. And here what we can do, we can add some style for this button. We have added height and width, we can say it's an auto. That's it. Now this is for edit. Similar way we can add one more entry for delete. So here we can, this is for edit, so let us add a whole ng container for delete one. Okay, so this is for delete, and here we can copy it. This is the delete and this is the delete button, and we can save it. Now let us see, it is showing as expected. Now what we can do, let us give some color for this one as well. Now let me add some background color. Use same color as we have for add button, and here we can add some background color as a red for this delete button. Seems good. Now it is showing as expected. Now we have delete and edit action buttons in place inside table. Now once we click on edit button, this row should get populated at here. Okay, so that part let us complete now. Now this is the edit, and here we can add one click, and here we can say set order, and here we can pass our order, and this function we need to create. And here we can use this dot order dot id. Here we can set to our original object with the this order id which we have received. This dot order dot price is dot order dot quantity, and here we can say this dot order dot product. Okay, fine. So what we have done, so on click of this edit button, it should send this row data. For that, what we have done, like we have called the set order and passing this row data. Now for this set data, that function what it will do, it will take this row data order. This right hand side is the row data order, and that will get assigned to our order object, which is of this order object, because this order we are going to show on our HTML. Okay, so this order, same order, we are going to rendering on the table. Now let us see how it works. Now we need to save it. Now once we click on edit button, it should show seems good. This is for Pixel 2 and this is for Galaxy Mobile. Seems good, it is working. Now next thing what we can do, like once we click on edit but delete now once we click on add button, if you modify something at here and click on add button, this add button is working for updation as well as uh, creating a new order. So let us add the edit logic or update logic inside our home.ts file. Now this logic is already in place for our inside else. This is for creation. We can copy it and edit it here. This is for deletion, updation. So we can say update order. Now we need to create one update or service inside it here. Now we can copy this part and add our update logic, and here we can say update order, and this is the modified order we have received, and here we can call put method to update the modified order, and it will return the order object. Now here what we can do, here we are going to pass the modified data. Sorry, this is not it here, and this is the update order. For this update order, we are going to pass the modified data, which is it here, and here we can end with slash, so that it should work. Okay, now we have, this is the API URL and this is the base URL and this is the modified data, and this is the put method which will update, HTTP put method which will update the actual data. Now we have update method in place inside service. Now we need to call that. So this is the update order and we are passing the order, and here we can say product updated successfully, and same logic we can repeat it here. Now let us check how it works. Now let us update to one entry. Now here we can take pixel 2, and here we can change it with like pixel go. Quantity we can take 2, price we can say 88,000, and we can click on add button. Now it is not getting updated, so let us save it. Everything we need to save first, service method as well. Now let us check into browser. Now this is the pixel 2. Instead of that we can use pixel go. Here we can choose quantity as a 5, and here we can say 99,000 and add. Okay, here is a double slash. Now what we can do, we can remove this slash and we can save it. Now it will work. Now here we can go, it's a pixel go. Let us say quantity is a 7 and price we can take like 73,000. We can add. Now what change we have made, we will make sure we have saved it. or let us change it here so that we can see into the console. So this is the edit button. Here we can change it to pixel go, and this is the 7 quantity, and here we can say something like 89,000. Now this is like 40 API orders. Okay. What the ID was missing, we need to pass the data ID as well along with the modified data. That's why it was not working. Now let us check how it works. Now we have edit button. Now it should work because that was missing, which we have just covered. So this is pixel go, let's say 7 quantity, and here we can say 77,000. Now this is the data ID. This is the pixel 2. Let us change it with go, or here we can say 8. Here we can say 65,000. Okay. Now here, okay, here is a double. We can see here is a double slash it is coming with. So after orders, it is a slash after orders. Okay. Okay, so we can remove this slash. Seems good. And this is the edit, and here we can take something like ThinkPad, and here we can add 8, and we can say 99,000, and we can click on add button. Okay, so here there is a, basically here we need to end it with the slash. Now let us check. Seems good. Now it has successfully updated, because only it was some issue like slash, it was showing the double slash or single slash, due to which it was not working. Seems good. Now update is working. Similar way, what we can do, we can use the delete functionality. Now here let us check where is our delete button. So this is the delete button, and here we can copy this click functionality and edit it here, and we can say it is delete order, and same we can copy, and to deleting we just need to pass the ID, which is enough. Okay, now let us go to our it here, and we can call delete order, and this is the ID which is of number, and here we can use one constant like is confirmed, and here we can say window dot confirm. We can say, are you sure you want to delete? And if it is confirmed, that means it has clicked on OK button for deletion. At that time only we want to delete the object. Like we can first we need to add one delete entry inside this service object. Let us copy this update method, and here we can add this is for delete order, and here we need to pass the id which is of type number, and here we can call the delete method. Here we are passing this id and no data is required. That's it. Now whether this slash will work, let us check. So this is for delete order. Now similar way we need to call the delete order at here. Now this dot order service, on that we can call delete order, and here we can pass the id, and here we can say subscribe, and for this subscribe we have data as a callback, and here we can say we can iterate this is our original orders, and here we can iterate on the orders, and we can call filter, and we can say like atom dot id is not equal to id. So this is the passed id, input id. For this id we are collecting all the records which are not matching with this id. That means this id will get excluded or deleted. Okay, that's it. Now just to avoid the refresh part, we can copy this line and we can add it here, and we can save it. Now it should work. Now let us check for delete functionality. So this is our, now let us click on delete. Seems good. Now delete is working. You can see that the entry is deleted, last entry. With this our all the CRUD functionality is working fine. Now let us go for implementing the search filter. Now here let us add the search filter functionality. First of all we can go to our search input. Now this is the search input, and here we have mentioned this search input. We are calling this constant function search orders, and this is the filter, and we are passing the filter value. Now let us add functions for this one, and here is our search functionality we can add. like this is the input and which is of type string. Now here what we can do, like we can add, now to store the filtered list we can add one more, we can create one entry. So this is for storing the orders. Similar way we can copy and add it for filtered orders. It will hold filtered orders. Now I have cleared this function search order. Now let us add here, because our product is a string, quantity and price is a number. So here we should take any, because it is a combination of string and number. Now here we can use this dot filtered orders, and on that we can iterate the orders. On this we can use filter, and here we can say atom dot product dot to lowercase dot includes, and we can say input dot to lowercase. So this is for name. So we can copy this part, or here for let us see for quantity how we can do, like atom dot, this is the quantity, and we can say quantity dot to string we can call, and we can say on that to string we can call includes, and here we can pass the input. That's it. So this is for quantity. Similar way we can add for price. That's it. So this is the search filter. Now let us see how it is. Now this is the, we have created one filtered orders to hold the filtered list, and we have filtered on the original list, and this is for product we have checked, this is for quantity, and this is for price. Seems good. Now on table to iterate it, like here, because on the page it is iterating on the data source. So what we can do, like we need to copy this part, and here whatever new filtered list we have, now we need to pass this as an data to the data source, and we can save it. Now to check this, now let us add few more entries. Now we can add like pixel 2, which quantity we can say 5, and 88,000. And let us add few more records. We can add ThinkPad. Quantity we can say 6, price we can say 67,000, and next we can add envy 13, quantity we can say 4, and price we can say, we can add some random price. Next we can take like elite, and quantity we can say it is for 3, price we can add something. Next we can use one more thing like yoga 9i, quantity 4, and 45,000. Let us add one more entry and we can stop. Like here XPS, quantity 3, price we can take something like 74,000. Seems good. Now we have enough record to show the searching sorting pagination. Now see how it works. Now this is for galaxy, two quantity everywhere. This is 28 here and 28 here. That means it is filtering on the data. Like let's say for pixel. Okay, seems good. In Y, yes, and ThinkPad, yes, it is showing as expected. The data is getting filtered out as we like. Okay, so this is for 50,000. Okay, now our filter is working fine. Now let us focus on our sorting functionality. So for that, what we can do, like here we can go to table once again, and here we can see the sort can go below, and this is the pagination, this is sorting part. Okay, now for to implement the sorting functionality, here we can see if we go at TS, now here at table level we need to add mat sort. We can copy it and add it to our table. So this is the table, and here we can add this mat sort. Okay, next thing what we can do, we can go to, okay, this is for table level, and for every, this is the table level, and for every header we need to add, for th part mat sort header we need to add. Now this is the first header, this is for product, this is for quantity, and this is for price. That's it, and we can save it. Now next thing what we can do, like we can go to the ts file, and here we need to add this entry, which is a view child for mat sort. We need to add into ts file, and here we can add it at here, and here we can use any for this one, and we can add fix import for this one. That's it. Now we can add one more entry, like this. We need to initialize this sort inside our ng after viewing it, so that it will get applicable to the data. Now let us check how it works. Now here we can check for product. First of all, we can save it. Okay, actually we need to add the mat sort module. We need to import. Okay, so that part is missing. So here we need to add mat sort module, and we can save it. Now we can see this is for product. It is in descending and ascending. Similar way, this is for quantity. Seems good, and this is for price. Okay, so our sort is working fine on table. Now let us focus on the pagination part. Now let us see how pagination is implemented. So go to pagination section, which is at here. Now here we can check. So here below this table we have this paginator section. We can copy it and we can add to our component, and here below this we can add it. So we can save it, and next thing what we can do, like we can add this view child. This is the view child for paginator. We need to add inside this ts file, and below this we can add it. We need to add import for this one. Next, like we can make it as an any. And next thing we need to add it into our ng after view unit. We need to initialize it so that this paginator will get applicable to our table. Now next thing what we need to do, like we need to add paginator. We can copy this and here we can add paginator module. Now we can see it is showing the pagination option. Now once we click on next page, it will take us to the next page. Now we have set the pagination size per page, the number of atoms we are going to show. That thing we can control, like let's say per page we want to show 4 records, and here we can make it 8 and here 12, and we can save it. Now let us see how it works. Now it is showing the 4 atoms per page, like 4 orders per page. Now we can see we are on the first page, so it is showing the first and previous button as a disable, which is as expected. Once we click on next button, it will show next 4 pages. Likewise, we have only 8 pages, 8 records. That's why it is showing. We are on the last page, so it is showing next and last button as a disabled one. So with this, our pagination is working fine, and we are done with all our CRUD operations, including searching, sorting, pagination, and our so all these functionality we are done with. I hope you must have enjoyed this video. I will request you all, please do not forget to subscribe, like and share. Thank you so much for watching this.